All right, family, let's jump right on into it. I finally found the video that I was talking about, and it's concerning the collider. If y'all don't know about this, I think that another one was on 60 Minutes. Um, but it was announced a chilling new discovery, man. Scientists, like I told you, man, with these people with the power, they already always experimenting. You're trying to get technology advancements. You want to prepare society. I get all that. Like I say, it is a dangerous hole. This video right here was on January the 14th, 2023. Now everything is pretty much coming to light, man. I like technology. I like all these people. You got to have brilliant scientists, man, doing all these things out there. But, we also know for anything, you got to do experiments. You got to put in predictions and stuff like that. But um, I remember the flash. Y'all remember the particle accelerator. You hear that term a lot. Back to the Future, you name it, and it's always a risk and it's a trade on. But this one right here is going to go into the Large Hadron Collider, which has helped scientists solve many of the universe riddles in a numerous runs since its inception. However, only recently, scientists from CERN, I don't know how they pronounce it, CERN, made an announcement that they powered up a large hadron collider with a new maximum beam of energy. You can't make this stuff up, people. But a lot of us, man, like I said, we've been busy. We've been bamboozled to watch all this stuff on TV, this extra junk. Like I say, I don't really watch TV no more, man. I'm doing more research. I'm trying to learn. I'm trying to diagnose these ailments and that some of my clients are experiencing. Going back to the holistic nutritionist also, trying to get certified in that. Already a certified sports nutritionist. So diets, nutrition, getting people healthy. Against what taking all this medicine. We all know the medicine don't do that. They don't treat the cause, but it is something that you're doing to your body that's making you sick. That's just point blank. It starts with us, and it always starts with what we put in our body. Our body wasn't designed to be sick. We used to live longer. What changed? Only thing I can say changed over time. You can look at the stats, you can research it, you don't got to believe me. It's the way we eat. And now the way we eat is even getting worse because now they're changing up the foods. They know how to make people sick. So the biggest thing for me, population control, is just poisoning people how they eat. That's the quickest way to kill people. Besides these diseases and stuff like that, man, I even look at the stats. You go in China. China just lost over 60,000 or 600,000. It's either 60,000 or 600,000 people last year. Their population decreased. Yeah, they got billion people and stuff like that. But just think about it. No, their birth rate ain't increasing. So that's just in 1 year. Imagine 5 years or whatever the case may be. If they don't need half 2 billion people on the earth, they need less than that. What do you think it starts with? And there's only a certain amount of people who don't want the people to exist. Yeah, we don't do, just looking at your own life, what do you do to contribute to the mass society or advancement in our society? We don't really do too much in that, man. If you ain't growing your earth, growing foods, helping uh, advance the next generation and stuff like that. And then all of that stuff is all capped too. You can be a teacher, you can be a lawyer, you can be this and that, but you still learn off the law books and off the education system that wasn't designed to help us advance. So, I mean, like I said, it's all a big game to the people I know of power. And, from all the connections that I done had and the stuff I done seen, they just sitting back and just letting us watch. That's why you always see a big chessboard on everything. They're just making moves. We just pawn in a bigger game. But, like me, it's all a part of a bigger plan. We got to all play our parts, you know what I mean? And it's a certain way that we can all navigate in this life to just live I guess, um, peaceful existence, I guess, and coexist in the system that they already designed for us. You're trying to get your own business, you're trying to get all this and that. It used to be simpler in a couple of years ago, but now look at inflation, man. Look at all the stuff that comes through. I see more poverty. I see more homeless people on the streets. You see a whole lot of stuff going on and you ain't questioning it. You're just trying to go on with your daily life. Eggs is $8, $6, $10. Water increases going up. And just imagine, man, going up. I ain't even thought you'd pay for water. we are paying for water, and the water that they got, they don't add the salt and all these other chemicals in it, but we're paying for that stuff. Food is increased. So you got to think about it. You can prepare your own meals that last longer. We'll rather go out and eat fast food that's only one meal on average, spending $20, $30 a day. It just don't make sense to me, man. But um, that's why I decided I'm changing the whole game up. I'm switching to a whole thing. That'll be in another video on why I'm probably gonna go vegan. But by next year, God willing, that we here, I'm not eating nothing that they provide now. I'm gonna be eating my own food, growing it. I'm going all organic if you can possibly, and it's gonna be hard to find. All the stuff I hear now is not pretty much real. It's all fake. I just seen another company and they gonna introduce synthetic meats. That's just steak, all this other stuff, which really ain't meat. It ain't plant based either. It's just whatever man made in the lab. Come on, man. We already know they've been cloning animals for years. But like I said, this stuff is real, and it ain't no conspiracy theories. You can look online. They not hiding nothing because it don't matter. It's nothing we can do to stop their plans or whatever. We just got to live within the system. But you can be smarter about your health, live longer, start making better investments, start trying to get yourself in a better financial state when it comes to it, man. Just think about it. Education, from your career, education and business, everything has been laid out for us, and you pretty much don't vary. Just growing up in school, what they tell you, you get certain choices. You can be a police officer, a doctor, or a lawyer. They never really mention you can be an entrepreneur. You can own your own, whatever the case may be. They ain't even put that option in you, but that was the way the education system was built. Just look it up, man. Read how the education system was built and who built it. They say they ain't want a country full of thinkers, because if we get to thinking, we recognize who we actually are, man. It's gonna be, it's a wrap for them. That helps. That's not a part of the agenda. That makes them lose money. And they about making money, keeping their power status, which they always have, because their wealth is longevity. But for me, looking at it, they can have their wealth. It's nothing I can do about it, but it's still a part of the bigger plan for me. We all, like I said, we all play our role. We just want to play it more efficiently, live healthier, longer, and set our family up so they don't have to struggle the way we struggle. I don't see nothing wrong with that, but it is a smarter way. Just got to educate yourself about what you're actually putting in your body. Wise up, take those precautions, and just look and research yourself. I tell people, research, 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 because everything is coming to light now, and it's a reason for it. We don't know what the driving force is. I personally think I got the answer what the driving force is, because it's all been predicted, man. It's all been shown, but you can have your own thoughts. You don't have to believe. You don't have to listen to none of these people out there. But I think a lot more people like myself is coming to light. They're sharing more information. They're wide awake. They're just trying to navigate the best they can. And just go from there, man. But let's go ahead and take a look at this video right here. Like I said, just pay attention to movies you've seen. Just think about the Flash, any superhero movie, any Marvel movie, any DC movie. When it comes to technology and things of power, it can get risky. Let's go.
The LHC, like all physics experiments, aims to verify theoretical predictions, in this case, the so-called standard model of particle physics, and see if there are any holes in them. As strange as it may sound, physicists are itching to find a few holes in the standard model, because there are some things, such as dark matter and dark energy, that can't be explained until they do. So physicists all around the world were ecstatic to see the world's most advanced high-energy particle collider get operational. After all, they had waited decades for this magnificent technology to alter our understanding and understanding of the universe. The Large Hadron Collider has helped scientists solve many of the universe's riddles in numerous runs since its inception. However, only recently, scientists from CERN made an announcement that when they powered up the Large Hadron Collider with the new maximum beam of energy, they discovered something unexpected and disturbing. They've been attempting to figure out what triggered this incident since it happened. In today's video, we are going to find out what actually happened. The LHC is a particle accelerator, a device that boosts subatomic particles to enormous energies in a controlled way, so that
the Flash, I can't make this stuff up, people. You cannot make this stuff up. Particle accelerator, which gave all people powers, or some people powers, just depending on where they're at. Go back and watch the Flash season 1. Come on, man.
scientists can study the resulting interactions. These colliders are difficult to build, but they are extremely strong research instruments in particle physics because they attain a far higher center of mass energy than fixed target configurations. Scientists can then examine the results of these encounters to get insight into the structure of the subatomic world and the fundamental principles that govern it. Many of the byproducts are only formed by high-energy collisions and decay in extremely short periods of time, making it impossible to examine them in any other way. The Large Hadron Collider is housed in a circular tunnel that is 50 to 175 meters underground. This
Tunnels under the city.
variation was intended to limit the amount of tunnel that sits beneath the Jura Mountains in order to prevent the requirements for the excavation of a vertical access shaft there. This tunnel was chosen so that CERN would not have to spend the large sums of money on expensive surrounding land. The protection from background radiation provided by the Earth's crust was an added benefit. The 3.8-meter wide concrete-lined tunnel was built between 1983 and 1988. Previously, it housed the massive electron-positron collider. This tunnel crosses the border between Switzerland and France 4 times, with the majority of it in France. The above-ground structure houses ancillary equipment, such as compressors, ventilation equipment, control electronics, and refrigeration plants. The data generated by the LHC and LHC-related simulations was estimated to be around 15 petabytes each year. The computing grid was constructed as a component of the LHC to handle the vast amounts of data generated by its collisions. It is a collaborative multinational project that comprises of grid-based computer network architecture. The Large Hadron Collider's construction segment cost approximately 7.5 billion euros.
7.5 billion euros, people. Now, y'all seen how big it was. And this was constructed in the 80s. So imagine inflation. We all know the euros back then was way more than the dollar. It was over $1.50 or stuff like that. So $7.5 billion. Who would have that much money to invest in it? And multiple countries are involved in it. Just think about that. 7.5 billion. This in the 80s. It's 2023 now. 40 years. Oh, man. 40 years ago. Imagine the inflation on that. That's, I got to say, probably almost $1 trillion. You done constructed this in the time and stuff like that, man. But they saying the Earth crust helps the radiation. What you think? Come on.
One of the costliest scientific experiments ever built. Its construction was approved in 1995 with a budget of $2.6 billion. Plus,
the construction was complete in 1995, but it was built in the 80s. They only can report what they got, people. You know, logically, they ain't think somebody like myself is going to catch up on that. In the 80s, their tunnels was already built. Maybe it was complete in 1995, but they got to do the testing and all this and that. So you got an annual budget maybe to run it as 2.6 billion, but you've seen how much it costs just to do the tunnels. Come on, man.
Additional 210 million for trials. The LHC's initial testing was delayed for 14 months after it became operational on September the 10th, 2008, due to a magnet quench incident that caused substantial damage to more than 50 superconducting magnets, their mountings, and the vacuum pipe. The LHC smashed 2.
Just imagine, the Earth is on a magnetic plane. It's a magnetic field and all this and that. You're playing with magnets and damage everything else that went on in there. You done tested over 210 times or whatever the case may be back then. Imagine what could go wrong. Maybe it's good.
Posing particle beams of protons up to 4 tera-electron volts or lead nuclei during its initial run from 2010 to 2013. The Higgs boson, various composite particles, including the Botonian state, and the first generation of quark-gluon plasma were discovered during the first run of the LHC. The Large Hadron Collider's initial objective was to examine the likely presence of the Higgs boson, a crucial part of the standard model of physics that was predicted by theory but hadn't been detected previously due to its large mass and elusive nature. If the standard model was right, CERN physicists predicted that the LHC would produce many Higgs bosons every minute. This would allow physicists to finally confirm or reject the Higgs boson's existence. Aside from that, the Large Hadron Collider enabled researchers to look for supersymmetric particles and other hypothetical particles. Following the initial testing in 2008, the first operational run lasted from 2009 to 2013, followed by a lengthy shutdown for modifications that lasted until 2015. The second operating run was from 2015 and 2018, followed by another protracted stoppage until 2022. The LHC reopened in April 2022 with a maximum beam energy of 6.8 TeV. This round is projected to last until 2026. On July 7th, scientists were perplexed when a crack emerged in the Earth's magnetic field during the...
All right, let's stop right there. They were perplexed for playing with magnetics, even on the Earth, and you made a crack in the Earth's magnetic field. What possibly can go wrong? Radiation, deaths, tsunamis, earthquakes, hurricanes, tornadoes. We know technology, like I said, is a good thing. But what are the bad things that can occur? All the money you've seen going into that. There's only a couple of people who have that much money to invest in stuff like that. A lot of people, not a lot of y'all ain't know about this, but y'all remember I worked for DOD, DOS. I've been in law enforcement almost 25 plus years. Just think, man, there's plenty of stuff out there. They ain't gonna let you know. But I think everybody need to be aware of any of these tests that right here that you're doing. The public need to be aware of. I don't care anything about it because one small accident, it's affect every human on this earth. That's just a fact. If something goes wrong, it is going to affect all of us.
Run of the Large Hadron Collider. This inexplicable crack didn't happen in a flash of lightning, and it wasn't fleeting. In fact, the split in the Earth's magnetic field lasted 14 hours.
14 hours.
The powerful solar winds were able to rush through the opening, causing massive geomagnetic storms and produce some really captivating aurora. The geomagnetic storm caused by this crack produced an aurora so spectacular that we couldn't take our gaze away.
Ready to start eating healthier?
So you tell me, Earth, it lasted 14 hours, but nobody knew. What's the negative effects that can occur besides the radiation that can kill people in an instant, other people getting sick? What can go wrong?
Gaze away from it. But how did this crack appear? As it turns out, this breach in the magnetic field was caused by a rare phenomenon known as a rotating interaction region from the sun, or CIR. These CIRs are actually large-scale plasma structures that form in the heliosphere's low and intermediate latitudes when fast-moving and slow-moving streams of solar wind collide.
And I'm going to stop right there. I know a lot of y'all don't believe in faith or God created the earth and stuff like that, or our own universes in a bubble. But what does that look like? Just tell me your thoughts. Just look at this picture right here. Now, do you see where the sun is in this whole bubble? Our planets, just our solar system like that. Look at what picture did they got to show anything else outside of that. Now, that bubble is being protected from whatever else is on that other universe or outside of our own solar system, protecting us from damaging forces or whatever the case. What can create something that powerful to create it? You don't got to be faithful or not, but you can be a scientist or whatever the case may be. Tell me what you think about that. Come on, man.
The heliosphere is the area that surrounds the sun.
Now you can keep thinking about it over and over and over. You'll see plenty of diagrams once you start researching and stuff that looks just like that. So the information that they have out there only comes from NASA and other I guess, outer space countries that go and experience. I don't know what Russia Space Force is called and everything else. You got SpaceX. We got every other things out there besides our own NASA. But the information is the information. Remember now, all this stuff has names. You got the Boshok right there. You got the Helios, Heath, Voyager 1, Voyager 2. Now you already, if y'all don't know anything about Voyager, I'm gonna do a whole video on those two and report back the information that they got once they exited outside our own solar system. This y'all don't remember anything about Voyagers when they left out there. They're not in our universe no. But I know that's shocking. That's a whole different thing. But they're recording other stuff that's outside of that. Now, why aren't they damaging, or what kind of technology you got to have for? Do you create something that's just meant for exploring space, and they're still operational outside our universe? Y'all think we got that kind of technology, or we just believe that the technology we got is not that advanced? If somebody helping them advance our technology, but they can't just release it. You ever heard any president? They always say they can't confirm or deny the life of extraterrestrials, but they do have to prepare or have a briefing to prepare just in case something happens. So with that being said, you got to have technology and something to have our defense up just in case of a alien threat that comes. We got to be able to protect Earth. I get it because I'm in law enforcement. I know the public doesn't need to know everything. That's pretty much mass panic and all this other stuff. That's a real thing. I agree with it. But I'm also wise that when you experiment with powers and damaging that can threaten the whole Earth, you need to let people know something.
And contains the solar magnetic field and solar winds. The co-rotating interaction regions, such as coronal mass ejections or CMEs, are propelled out from the sun towards the Earth. These can contain shock waves in compressed magnetic fields, resulting in turbulent space weather, which we generally see as a gorgeous aurorae. This one struck the Earth's magnet in the early hours of July 7th, causing a long-lasting G1 class geomagnetic.
Go back and look at July 7th and see what happened during that time anywhere on the Earth. Y'all think it's just because they had a beautiful light storm or stuff like that, or days after or before something that occurred after July 7th? It was probably some things that happened to the Earth during that time. But according to some sort of National Oceanic and Atmosphere Administration (NOAA) experts believe a CME was embedded in the solar wind before the CIR. And they got all these terms. You can research the names and stuff like that. But anytime you're playing with magnetics in the Earth field and you're leaving the Earth vulnerable for radiation to occur, I don't think that's less than say a nuclear bomb go off. We already know that the damage and radiation that comes from that. This is something way more powerful than a nuclear bomb, people. Come on, man.
A coronal mass ejection was embedded in the solar wind ahead of the co-rotating interaction region, according to National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration (NOAA) experts.
They didn't get the NOAA experts, but we can't get to the bottom of the ocean, but we can go all the way up in space.
You worried about this crack?
Let's wait to the commercial. And like I was saying, man, why can't we get to the bottom of the ocean? We spend all this money going to space. We should be there. It's right here on the water. You don't need much, but it's in the pressure and this and that. It crushes everything they have. That's by design, people.
According to experts, there is nothing to be concerned about because cracks in the Earth's magnetic field are rather common. This magnetic field works as a shield, shielding us from the sun's solar storms. The various fissures in the field are thought to open and reopen rather fast, but these recent cracks have demonstrated that they can remain open for several hours at a time. We discovered that our magnetic shield is drafty, like a house with a window stuck open during a storm, said Harold Frey, lead author of a study on this discovery back in 2003. The house deflects.
Back in 2003, they noticed from testing this machine, cracks in the Earth magnetic field that's open for hours, people. but it's not deadly. That's what you think. But nobody knew about this, right? I'm just saying, this 2003, that's over 20 something years ago. So imagine the stuff they done did now, people. Come on, man. And the technology advancements, if they already had this stuff that advanced back then, you think, like I told you, the stuff they put out there is already on these TV shows. We like Marvel, we like DC, all this and that. Just look at the Flash, man. Believe me, it always consequences come when you're trying to play God or have the power out there.
Of the storm, but the couch is ruined. Similarly, our magnetic shield takes the brunt of space storms, but some energy slips through its cracks, sometimes enough to cause problems with satellites, radio communication, and power systems.
You thought your Wi-Fi going out was no problems, huh?
Fortunately, there were no radio blackouts or power outages caused by this crack in the magnetic field. Residents of Canada and the United States, on the other hand, were treated to some mind-blowing northern lights. Scientists have also discovered that the sun is approaching its most active period in the solar cycle, and that it is already exceptionally active much earlier than expected. This implies that your chances of seeing an aurora, which are now good, will only rise over the following 3 years. This breach in the Earth's magnetic field isn't the only thing discovered recently by the Large Hadron Collider. Multiple analyses based on the massive data set acquired in 2016 were presented to the public in July 2017. The Higgs boson's properties were explored in greater depth, and the precision of several other discoveries was enhanced. Since March 2021, the LHC collision experiments have discovered around 59 new hadrons in data acquired from the collider's first 2 runs. On July 5, 2022, it was revealed that a new sort of pentaquark composed of a charm quark, a charm antiquark, an up, a down, and a strange quark was discovered while studying the decays of charged B mesons. CERN, on the other hand, is also home to a number of non-LHC dark matter experiments, including CAST, which searches for hypothetical particles known as axions.
Dark matter experiments. Any space movie you thought about, what you already know the negative effects of dark matter, but they're playing with that. If you think we that smart to get captured, play with dark matter, and not being influenced by anything else out there, you got to be mistaken. Just think about this, people.
64, which collides electron beams with atomic nuclei, and AMS, which searches for cosmic rays from the International Space Station. Dark matter is a hypothesized type of matter that is thought to account for a large portion of the universe. It is dubbed dark because it does not emit, absorb, or reflect light, and hence cannot be observed directly with telescope or other electromagnetic radiation detecting tools. Its presence, however, may be inferred from its gravitational effects on visible matter, such as stars from galaxies. Scientists estimate that dark matter accounts for around 85% of the mass in the universe, and that its existence is required to explain a number of known phenomena, such as galaxies' rotating speeds and the distribution of matter on a cosmic scale. An international research team recently succeeded in dramatically narrowing the scope for the presence of dark matter, thanks to a precise experiment conducted at the Albert Einstein Center for Fundamental Physics, AEC, at the University of Bern, in partnership with CERN. The AEC is one of the leading international research organizations in the field of particle physics, with over 100 members. The team's findings, led by Bern, were recently published in the prestigious journal Physical Review Letters. What dark matter is actually made of is still completely unclear, says Ivo Schulthus, a PhD student at the AEC and the study's principal author. What is certain is that it is not composed of the same particles that comprise the stars, planet Earth, or us humans. Increasingly sensitive tests and methodologies are being deployed around the world to seek for suspected dark matter particles, so far without results. Thanks to many years of expertise, our team has succeeded in designing and building an extremely sensitive measurement apparatus, the Beam EDM experiment tests. Let us know what you think of CERN's new discoveries in the comments below.
I found, like you say, that's nuclear fusion. That's the CERN.
Snapshot Pro View.
Man, it's like I said, this stuff right here, you can't make this stuff up, people. They already testing these magnetic fields, this colliders, these other stuff. Just do your research out there. But let me know your thoughts. Hey, we just getting started. Let's go.